Hi, Tammy. Hope you're well.
Good morning. I'm great, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay on the sunny, nippy Durban day. How was it your side?
Yes. Yeah, it is a little bit nippy here, but it's beautiful weather. I'm really, really enjoying the last bits of this stunning weather. I spoke to my hubby last night, and he said, "Yeah, it's really, really getting hot already in Dubai. So I'm gonna get
Oh,
some scorching weather when I get back." Yes.
awesome. As usual, it's always a pleasure to have you on, especially on another interesting topic, passion versus purpose. And to get the ball rolling, Tammy, is how would you define the difference between passion and purpose, and why do people often confuse the two?
Very lovely topic. Well done for on this topic. And passion, if I had to give it in my words, it's something that excites you, something that energizes you. It gives you, like when you're passionate about doing something, you get that sense of, wow, I've accomplished this.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side, purpose is more a deeper, more a reason or impact that gives your life a direction. So people become confused because they overlap when something when you feel something feels meaningful, rather it seems like almost the same thing. It's such a fine line between the two, but they're actually very different. So passion is more about how you feel, and purpose is about why that matters to you. So if you were to put yourself into like a simple test, if you ask yourself, would I still care about this if it stopped being fun?
Mm.
So it's more like like a probing purpose. And if you ask, that is more the purpose. Would I still care if this stopped being fun? And then you ask yourself, would I still do this even if I had no longer it had no longer an impact on me? That is passion,
Mm.
going through. So they're not opposites, they're different layers, I would say. Most satisfying parts usually come from aligning them and not treating them as identical.
So in a nutshell, if the passion has got positive emotion and the purpose would be more like duty bound.
Yes, you could say, but it's such a fine line between the two. So a passion is that innate sense of I've done it.
Awesome. Why do some people feel unfulfilled even when they are successful or doing something they're passionate about?
So I'm going to give you a Vedantic answer on
Okay.
that. So when it comes from recognition, your true nature. So, in Vedanta, you taught about the Atman, the self, right? So, which is whole, it's complete, it's not lacking anything. So, but most people identify with the ego, the title, the doer, the achiever, the label that you give it, be it in a corporate environment, be it in a society, they identify with those labels, and the ego is attached to it. So even if you succeed or you do what you love, success belongs to the ego and
Mm.
not to the self. So when you look at it from a Vedanta point of view, you try to be neutral in the whole process. You don't get too excited about something. You don't get sad about something. You try to stay in the neutral zone. So it never feels like almost complete for long. And passion is more of mental, emotional state where you get the peaks and the troughs. It
Mm.
comes and goes. So
Yeah,
desire itself creates a sense of
passion.
lack, I would say.
Oh,
It's fulfilling one desire just to give rise to another. So remember, with man, we're never satisfied. We're constantly moving that goalpost. This is
yeah.
why in text like the Bhagavad Gita, action and success are not seen as sources of lasting fulfillment. This they teach you that you already complete. You don't need an external thing to make you complete. I know, like when I'm doing my motivational mentoring sessions, some of the ladies will say, "I need a man to complete me." Sweetheart, you're not broken. You don't need to be complete. A man or a partner should complement you, not
Hmm.
complete you. So, but the ignorance of truth about the Atman, the self, chases fulfillment from the outside, chases external factors that make you happy. If I had to give you a, say you've been wanting the new iPhone, and if I had to give you that, is it going to give you happiness till the rest of your days on
No.
earth? No, it's a short term happiness. So,
Hmm.
happiness is not external, it's internal. So, unfulfillment isn't because of success or passion failed. It's because you were never meant to provide what only self knowledge can.
Awesome. All right, there's a comment question for you here. I think that's hi, Tammy. Lovely topic today. I define passion as my hobby, and my purpose is where I did and myself being valuable in life, and perhaps also as an income earner. It is closely related, though, and this is from Reshchitan.
Yes, Resh, thank you for the question. It is closely related, but there is a difference between the two, like I alluded to in the first question. So, when you find something that you are passionate about, you find the purpose and you try not to let it get the better of you. So, say if you a cake baker and you're baking for a function and you have things happen, ingredients, electricity, and your cake fails, your cake flops. It's not something to bring you down. That's still your passion. Your purpose is to fulfill that need or that want, but you don't let it bring you down. So you see how the passion and the purpose separate. They're very closely related, but they separate. The whole idea is not for it to bring you down. It's for you to see it as a passing moment.
How can someone begin to discover their true purpose, especially if they feel lost or directionless?
Ooh, so I would say you start by gently challenging the premise. You don't create your purpose from scratch. You discover it by understanding yourself more.
Hmm.
Uh, get to know clearly who you are, that innate sense of, what gives me pleasure, what makes me feel fulfilled. So it's a feeling. Feeling lost comes from identifying only with changing roles, thoughts, emotions. So the first step isn't picking a direction as such, it's gaining more clarity about who is choosing. From there, a few steps I would say shift from what should I do to what is true about me. Spend time in self inquiry, self analysis. The Like in Hinduism we call it the Atma. Notice what your experience is, constant versus keep changing. And then this builds the inner stability, which makes decisions much more clearer. Then clarify your values. In Hinduism, again, we call it the Dharma. So what is your value? You don't ignore action, you reframe it. So your dharma, the right way of living, is discovered by you looking at nature, abilities, responsibilities, and then ask yourself, what kind of person do I respect, and where do my abilities naturally meet around my needs? You try to figure that out. Also, act without overloading identity. So I've got a lot of people that I deal with, and I call them eye surgeons, because it's I did this, I did that,
Mm,
and I won this, and I've got this title.
mm,
Everything is I, and I call them the
mm.
I surgeons. So you need to act without being attached to the identity of it. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, it emphasizes karma yoga, where you're doing your work sincerely, but not trying to focus the identity or the worth or the outcome of it. So you're not focused on the outcome, you're doing it for fulfilling a purpose. And this reduces the pressure to find the perfect purpose. So you can use experimental feedback. You can look for alignment, not intensity. And also purpose in the framework isn't always like dramatic. It's often a quiet alignment between your inner clarity and the outer actions. So in short, I would say you move from confusion to purpose, not by chasing the perfect path. There is no perfect path,
Mm.
but rather reducing the inner confusion and then acting steadily. First clarify, then direction.
So I guess it comes down to one humbling themselves because once a person can do that, they'll be able to figure it out quickly.
Absolutely. Yes, you don't become fixated on title,
Mm.
recognition, labels, etc. Correct.
Yeah. Do you believe purpose is something we find or something we create over time?
I would say it's a little bit of both,
Oh.
but not in an equal or simplistic way. So, from ancient scriptures, the ultimate purpose isn't something you invent, it's something you recognize. And at the deepest level, the teaching that is, you or the teaching or the learning is what is your true nature, yourself, what is your main purpose in life. And once you figure that out, you're already whole. So there's no final purpose of self knowledge or not achievement or something like that. But that doesn't mean that life becomes passive or pre-written. At a practical level, you call purpose in a day-to-day life or something like it's something that you shape over time through your choices, through your responsibility, through the way you respond to certain circumstances. So you discover the deeper truth about yourself, who you are, your main purpose, and you create and refine how you express yourself in the world. That's why two people with similar insights can live very different lives. One might teach, another might build, another might serve quietly, and the inner clarity is found, but it's the expression that is created or crafted thereafter. If you had to hold one idea, purpose isn't a single fixed thing that's just waiting out there, nor is it completely arbitrary. It's a direction that becomes clearer as you understand yourself and I would say, you live deliberately.
That's so true. How can someone align their career or daily life with a deeper sense of purpose?
Hmm. I would say alignment comes first with clarity.
Mm.
Be clear on what it is that you want, what is it that you need to do. And second comes action. Clarity first, second action. Get clear on your values and treat your work as a contribution, not as an identity. Like often it's taught in the Bhagavad Gita as well. Make small real changes so your actions match your values. In short, I would say understand yourself, then steadily shape your life to reflect that, your true purpose. Like what I used to always teach in when I was in the corporate field, I used to always say, be a chameleon, adjust to your surroundings, but stay true to your core. A chameleon changes the outside, but the innate self is the same. So, like there's a beautiful book that I'm going through now, which is Governing Business and Relationships by Swami Parthasati, and it teaches you as well that in a corporate field, you are fulfilling a function. So, say where I found it very difficult is where I had to retrench quite a few people in my team. And I had to divorce the idea that that's me fulfilling a job and that is not me personally. So, passion versus purpose. So, you understand that you are fulfilling a role. So, you need to divorce the two and understand that that is not you. Because if you're not, emotionally strong, if you don't have a thick skin, that
Mm.
can really affect your sleeping patterns, affect everything in your life, because you internalize it, you personalize it. And when you realize that you are performing a function and you understand your purpose much better.
Lastly, what practical steps can someone take to move from simply following passion to living a purpose-driven life?
I would say so. From moving from passion to purpose isn't about just dropping what you love.
Mm.
It's about grounding it in meaning and direction. So clarify your why. Take what you're passionate about and ask, who does this serve? Why does it matter beyond me? Sometimes your purpose, your passion is not somebody else's passion. And you find this especially with couples as well, where there's a clear disjoint of their goals, their desires. So once you find out what matters, this shifts towards purpose. When you find your passion, you shift it towards purpose. Identify, look at your strengths, your values, your responsibilities. Where do they meet the real need? That intersection is your strong clue. Next, I would say, going back to the Bhagavad Gita, karma yoga, as taught in the Bhagavad Gita, do your work fully, but don't depend on results for your sense of worth. This keeps your actions steady and less ego driven. You're not fixated on the outcome. You're not fixated on, okay, you finished your studies now. I'm a doctor. Woohoo. People so often are driven by the titles, driven
Mm.
by your designation. And I can tell you from personal experience, when I was the second princess in the Mrs. Middle East, in the Hortman Worldwide pageant, I was given, limousine facilities. I was given top notch,
Oh.
preferential seating in a plane, etc. Your year of reign is done. You are just a normal somebody. You no longer have that title that drives you, that people rushing up to you and getting your autograph or taking a photo with you. You don't have that, because your title, your reign for that year was over. So people get fixated on that title, on that designation. So the other thing I would say is turn passion into contribution. Instead of just
Mm.
enjoying something, ask, how can I help, teach, build, improve others? So I say this very often: if I could change one person's life for the better, I've lived my life. Just one. I've lived my life. So find out how you can improve others. Then I would say commit to consistency over intensity. What I mean by that is be consistent in the way you do things. Don't I often find people, like when they're doing charity, you find all these affluent businessmen. They're doing a huge feeding scheme once at Christmas time or once in Easter. What happens to the rest of the year? Those people don't eat. You ask yourself, Whereas if they could turn that into like a regular soup kitchen and get a few businessmen together, and each one says, okay, I will take a Monday, I will take a Tuesday, I will take a Wednesday. So you're creating that consistency, and you're creating more a purpose driven life. So do not do something with bang intensity once off. And people purpose often shows up through repeatedness, through aligned action, not through bursts of excitement. So like I mentioned about the charity, the soup kitchen. So this is something consistent, and you seeing the outcome, you helping others, you giving to others. The other thing I would say is reflect and refine constantly. So when you notice what's meaningful to you over time, it's not just exciting moments. So you adjust your path accordingly. So I would say, in short, passion becomes purpose when it's
Mm.
guided by values, good, strong values, directed towards contribution, and I would say sustained with clarity of what is it that you want, and then the you act on that.
On that note, thanks so much for your time, Tammy, and I'll take you again next week.
Absolutely. Love and light to all the listeners and the viewers, and we will catch up next week.